Hey, are we shooting on that? Yes. We are shooting that. Okay. All right, everybody, settle down. All right.
Here we go.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Educated Barfly. Today I'm very excited because yesterday was Global Chartreuse Day, and we have two people that I'm very excited to introduce to you from Chartreuse. The first is Ria Soleil. She is the Solaire. Sorry, Ria Soleil, who is the West Coast spirit specialist of Chartreuse. And then we have Philippe Rochez, who is the global exports director.
Correct.
Of Chartreuse as well. And so today we're going to learn all about Chartreuse. A couple of notes. A, we're in Glass Hill Park and we're going to hear helicopters, and so we're not going to stop filming for that. This is kind of a live event. And then B, this works best if everybody asks questions. So if you have questions, ask them. Even if you think they're stupid questions, they're not. I guarantee you they're not stupid, and it's just a lot better. Everyone's here to learn about Chartreuse. So let's get started. And then I guess Ria's going to run around and give everyone a little bit of Chartreuse to taste. And if you're at home and you have some Chartreuse, pour yourself a little yellow, pour yourself a little green, and join us.
Fantasiste.
Yay.
Woo! Woo! Are we allowed to be a live studio audience?
Yes, you can be a live studio audience, absolutely. You do not have to be totally silent. There are people in this room, so. All right, to an extent. So Philippe, tell us what Chartreuse is.
Chartreuse is good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for introducing me. Chartreuse is a place in France, located in southeast of France. So is the first chain of the Alps. So we are located between Switzerland and Italy. So like 2 hours drive from Geneva, 3 hours drive from Torino, and the first chain of mountains in the Alps called Chartreuse. So it's the first meaning of Chartreuse. Second meaning is a link with the Capuchin monks involved for the last 400 years with producing Chartreuse into the Chartreuse land. So they took basically the name from the mountain and became a Carthusians, Chartreuse. And third meaning obviously is the name of the liqueur. Correct. So this beautiful liqueur, the story behind this liqueur is linked to the Capuchin monks, and the Capuchin order was founded by Saint Bruno, a priest, a German priest, who studied theology in Reims, close to Paris, before 1084. And Bruno arrived in the surrounding of Grenoble with 6 companions. And he met the Bishop of Grenoble, who was called Saint Hughes at the time, and he wanted to devote his life to solitude and prayer. So he went with his 6 companions to Chartreuse mountains and founded the Order of Chartreuse. Today, the Order of Chartreuse is 22 monasteries around the world, 350 monks living in 22 monasteries. One of them is in Maine, in the US. Most of them are in Europe. The mother house is still the same place where they built the monastery at the very beginning, in Saint-Pierre de Chartreuse, which is the mother house of the Capuchin order today. And so is considered today the Capuchin order as the oldest religious Catholic order still existing today, since 1084. So it's linked with the Vatican. Mm-hmm. And it's just to give you an indication about the important influence of the order through a century. Before the French Revolution in 1789, there was more than 300 monasteries around the world, mostly in Europe, in Spain, in Italy, in France, in Germany, and Portugal. And so, yes, the order was very influenced economically, politically, and they were for many centuries master of irons in the surrounding of the mountain of Chartreuse. They also worked in the wood industry for the King of France for many centuries around Chartreuse area. And of course, they were developing their skills and their knowledge in creating remedies for people. So they were also developing their knowledge deeper, finding some roots and spices and flowers and different things to cure people. So that's the reason why in 1605 a recipe was given to them in Paris by Maréchal d'Estrées, who was a cousin of Henri IV, King of France at the time. And basically, this manuscript was a list of 130 herbs. Was supposed to be the elixir of long life, you know. Was supposed to be the elixir to cure everything, the ultimate recipe to cure everything. You have to understand that at the period of time in 1605, the old Europe was open to the new world. The spices road was open between India, Asia to the old Europe, and the America was discovered. So there was a lot of things going on in terms of researching the ultimate recipe to cure everything. So people have access to different raw material, plants and flowers and roots and spices. So big. So as a matter of fact, in the recipe of Chartreuse, 30% of the herbs come from the Alpine region, and the rest is the rest of the world.
Oh wow!
So it's quite, yes, in that sense, quite unique. So, when they received this manuscript in 1605, right away they start to produce the first version of the elixir in Paris. Was produced. Mm-hmm. The recipe was completed in 1737 in Monastery of La Grande Chartreuse, 132 years after. Research and development. Not so many companies have such a time to devote to the research and development to launch a product. So this, what you get in your glass today, is the elixir of La Grande Chartreuse, produced as the first product made by the monks, completed in 1770, but considered as the oldest liqueur in the world. The monks were the first one to use the word liqueur on the label, which means drinks in Latin. So this is the essence of Chartreuse liqueur. It's the most iconic product of the range we had in France. It's a fantastic cordial we use on a regular basis as a digestif. A few drops in the glass or a few drops into the spoon to help digestions. Also, it's a fantastic product to cure flu as a drug, you know. Put a few drops into hot water with lemon juice and honey. It will fix you for good, and obviously
Fix you for good.
Yeah, it's a well-being, you know. It's for the wellness, and obviously this product being used lately by bartenders, as with community of mixologists, as a bitter in their drinks. Give that herbaceous note to a nice Negroni, for example. You put 10 drops of elixir to a Negroni, you get beautiful complexity.
I would like to point out that it is not available in the United States. So,
Is it available to mail order if you live in a state that allows mail order booze?
absolutely not.
Okay. So you can't get it.
Why that?
You cannot get it.
The reason is very interesting, and it's not because Chartreuse is being stingy about their products. It's because we are in a sort of stalemate, if you will, with the TTB, where the recipe for Chartreuse, it's 130 different botanicals, is 100% secret. Only 2 or 3 monks know it at a time. They're not telling anybody. So the TTB would like to know every single thing that goes into every single bottle of alcohol that comes into the U.S. And there is no way that we can tell them what's in that bottle. And so when we approached, the company approached in the late 80s to bring in the Elixir Vegetal and some of the other marks that we make in France, the TTB said, well, what's in it? And we said, well, we don't know. And they said, well, that's not okay. So we are now grandfathered in with the 4 products that the 4 products that you'll taste today that aren't the elixir, which is the yellow chartreuse, green chartreuse, and both of the VEPs. So, and I just want to touch again, and just in case it slipped by you, because I think it's so important. The word liqueur, he said that's on that bottle for the first time. That's the first time that word was ever used. So the Carthusian monks actually created the whole category of liqueurs. They made the word up and created that category.
Amazing.
So I think that's really cool and special.
That is really cool and special.
Yeah.
So the elixir is one-time distilled, no aging process on this one. Okay, this is 138 proof. It's quite strong. So that's the reason why just Ria mentioned so many bartenders from the US, when they come over to overseas, a lot of bartenders bring back a lot of elixir to the market.
So you can bring it back.
Right. Yeah. I could bring it back. So, what is the difference between yellow chartreuse and green chartreuse? I think that, because that has a very interesting answer.
Yeah, so basically in 1737 the recipe was completed from Father Jean Maubec into the pharmacy of La Grande Chartreuse de l'Elixir Végétal. They start to release, to sell locally the Elixir Végétal in the surrounding of Chartreuse area, in a small village, in small towns. And this product was so well received, they decided at the time in 1764 to came out with liquor version of the elixir, called Elf Liqueur, called Chartreuse Green.
Right.
Which,
Health liquor, guys. It's health liquor.
which is basically, they are using the same ingredients, 130 herbs with more complexity. We just told you about technically they are using one-time distilled, one distillation on the elixir. On green Chartreuse is many times distilled. So to produce, just to give you an idea, just to produce a batch of green Chartreuse of 42,000 liters, they need at least 2 months, 7 to 8 weeks to produce a batch of 42,000 liters, and they use 1.5 tons of dry herbs, which is quite a lot.
Wow, it's amazing.
So again, like Ria mentioned about the way the cartoon monks are still involved today in the process of making Chartreuse, it's very true. I mean, they own the brand, basically. Business model is quite unique, because in that sense, not many companies work like we do. So they own the brand, they are looking after every single process of the brand, of making the brand. They're sourcing all the raw material. So the natural grape spirit they are using for the yellow Chartreuse, and also the beetroot spirit they're using for the green. Sourcing all the herbs around the world. So you have to make sure they have enough quantity, but also the quality. So they have many suppliers around the world to supply these spices and roots and plants and different things, which is quite interesting. They supply all locally the honey from the region of Chartreuse, and they receive the herbs into the monastery. They have a special room there. The place hasn't changed since the beginning, which is quite unique, and only 3 monks can have access to this room to do the blending.
Right.
They do the blending in that room, put that in bags. Every single bag have a special numbers, and from the monastery go to the distillery and start all the maceration process and distillation process. So basically they work with group of herbs.
But it's the same herbs for each one.
Yes, same
Exactly the
herbs,
same.
different proportions.
Different proportions, got you.
Yes.
And does
the
one
way-
go through more macerations than the other?
Yes, and it's more complex than that, because the group are different from the yellow and green.
Right.
And the way they are doing maceration or extraction to get the color
Right.
from the final maceration before the aging process. Here, they're using different herbs.
I heard a really cute rhyme. It says, yellow chartreuse is sweet and funny. Yellow chartreuse is sweetened with honey. Is there any truth to this rhyme?
I'm not sure we can say.
I'm not sure I can say,
I
yeah.
don't know if we can say.
Oh.
It's a secret.
I mean, the recipe for chartreuse is an absolute 100% secret.
So what we can say about honey, it's used in the yellow chartreuse recipe.
Okay.
They use distilled honey in the first distillation, but speaking about the grain, they don't use any honey in the green chartreuse.
Okay.
So you're right.
we
You're
found
absolutely
one
correct
guy.
about that.
In the 1100s, there wasn't the same global marketplace. They still used all of the same variety of herbs?
Yes,
and
exactly the same. 1600.
And some-
1605. The first recipe was given to them in 1605. So 17th century.
Why did it
Yeah.
take 130 years?
That's why I've hopped back into frame. The reason why it took, one of the reasons why it took them a very, very long time to figure out the recipe for chartreuse is because they were using things that weren't just indigenous to the area in France that they were in. They were using things that had been discovered, say, during the Crusades or during the expansion of the spice routes and the Silk Road. So they were literally waiting for these other products to hit their front door. You know, probably like on the back of a donkey. Somebody would come by and they'd be like, do you have orris root? Not that there's orris root in it. And they would be like, no. And then they'd wait another 10 years till somebody did. So that's really part of the reason why it took so long. And that's also why it's true that those things were available in the 1600s, but not so readily available.
Outside of that, you think technically they have to stabilize the product. So the first version was made in Paris in 1605, but I think, I don't know. I think that the color was not green at the time when they started to do the first version.
Is that right?
So they yeah. So probably they came out later on, and they worked with the recipe for so long time to obtain the final good results, for them.
Perfect.
So that's why it took such a long time.
Philippe, do you know when the color was named? Because the color chartreuse is named after the spirit, not the other way around.
Yes.
Do you know when the word was invented?
No.
1800s, is that right?
1800, you said?
1800s, okay.
1800s.
Yes.
Just with ingredients, or maybe, I don't know, I was just curious about consistency of flavor profile. Has the flavor evolved? I'm sure the monks are going for consistency, but has there been any discernible difference in flavor over 100, 200 years?
True, very true. Good questions. And what is very interesting and what is very unique in terms of Chartreuse, when you speak about Chartreuse, it's the handcraft environment about the product. Is the way it's made. They are using their hands to do the blending, and they are using their hands to make the recipe also. So every single batch is different in that sense. And above that, you have to think about when they collect all the herbs and spices and roots and flowers. Could be impacted by the forecast from time to time, you know.
Seasons change, for sure.
Seasons change, so could impact also the recipe in terms of flavors, of colors, of taste, which is, in that sense, every single batch different. Chartreuse is different.
Cool.
Okay, and you have a clear indication to give you a precise indication about the bottling, the vintage product.
Yeah, let's see the difference between the two. So here's a bottle of Chartreuse that we brought along with us, and there's one from their bar. So what
So
number
you have a
is-
lot number and a screw cap. You just have to remember to memorize the vintage product of each bottle. You have to memorize the foundation of the Cartagena order in 1084. Okay, 1084, and you had the first three numbers of this lot number.
934 is this one.
Yes, 934 plus 1084. You land to 2018.
So this is a brand new bottle. And then the last
So
three
this
numbers.
was the year was bottled, right?
Yep. And the last three numbers I have are 46.
Is the 46th day of the year 2018, so it will be February something, mid-February. So you can identify precisely
I knew this,
on
but I
your
didn't know
on
how to
your
do it.
menu list. You can charge different price for different vintage.
What do you have?
934, 18 of January.
Oh, so that one is
Same.
older. Well, no, I mean, this was bottled in February. That was bottled in January. So it's entirely possible that they might taste a little different. But from year to year, absolutely, if you taste them side by side, they
Yes,
they vary.
to answer your questions, every single batch is different in sense, and the way you can taste it, and the very thin difference in flavors and colors. This is quite interesting, and the world also the way Chartreuse involves to the bottles. If you get lucky to find some old stock from Chartreuse around the world, you'll be amazed by the quality of the product.
Well,
Keep aging in the bottles, because the interaction between herbs and plants and spices, you get more bitterness coming through the green when you get all the spiciness coming from the yellow Chartreuse.
there are Chartreuse dealers, though. It's a collectible spirit, right?
Yes.
So there are global dealers that actually deal in vintage Chartreuse, no?
Yes, all around, more and more, yes, more and more. You can, and can spend a fortune to buy all the bottle of Chartreuse. Probably the pricing today in the auction to buy a bottle from the beginning of century will be over 10,000 euros.
Yeah, there was a Sotheby's. There was a Sotheby's auction 3 years ago. I remember it was when I first started with the job, and they were selling bottles at Sotheby's for like $20,000 each.
Right. Well, vintage spirits and Amaros and liqueurs are getting really big right now. I mean, I
Yeah.
know that there's a lot of, just recently there was a big article in Punch about this one guy that sources a lot of vintage spirits and sells them off to bars. So he basically will go to a bar and the bar will say, we want, 5 bottles of Averna from 1975, and he'll
Yeah.
go find them, like a Dusty Hunter,
Yeah.
kind of person.
Goes
And
all
for
the
those people at
estate
home
sales.
that don't know what a Dusty Hunter is, it's someone that actually goes to great lengths to find vintage bottles, and they'll go out to all sorts of liquor stores from like in the middle of nowhere to basically find those bottles that have been neglected for many, many years. They know who the distiller was, they know what year it was from, they know how to read the bottle, and they read the barcode to figure out what these bottles are, and then they sell them at great profit on the internet.
Yep.
A lot of popular brands have master distillers. Their job is to make sure that flavor stays consistent.
Yes.
The master distillers that are dealing with the variations year to year, what are they looking for?
Good question.
That is a good question.
I mean,
That's a really in-depth one too.
I think all master distillers are the three monks are involved to the productions, right? They are looking for obtain a quality product which is recognized today worldwide for what they're doing and the way they can also have a beautiful expression of the way the raw material they have, they work on it. So all the spices, the roots and flowers, through like I said earlier, you have the group of plants are very important for the taste, for the flavor of the liqueur. Some of them very important for the digestive aspect for the liqueur, and some of them very important for the color of the liqueur. So as they have to combine all the three aspects and to get the beautiful harmony, beautiful blending, to get the best possible product they can get as a master distillers. So they've been recognized as such for the last 400 years, right? Being blending, distilling these beautiful herbs and spices and roots and flowers. So that's the challenge for them. Even if every single batch is different, because tastes differently. And that is also the heritage of Chartreuse. It's been recognized because this is such a unique product in that sense. It's a lot of strength, a lot of, especially on the grain, distilled many times, aged minimum 3 years in oak vats. So it's not too many liqueur aged so long, you know? So first of all, the digestif you can enjoy at the end of the meal, but has been used in US for the last 15 years as a modifier in cocktails, but because probably your community love to use the complexity and the beautiful mixability of the liqueur, the color, the strength. So that's.
Is there a year that you view as the archetypical year of the green chartreuse in the modern era? Is there a preferred year?
No, I mean. Probably when I joined the company, it was like a long time ago. I won't reveal the date. But the Chartreuse was different at the time. The way they distill Chartreuse was different. I still have some bottles from that period, and it's a bit different. And now it's also evolving. The way you taste the liqueur today is different, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful the way also they improve in doing things, because we are just moving into the a new distillery. They will work back to copper pot steel. They were using column steel in the past, back to copper. Makes sense also in terms of quality. So every single aspect is important for them to make quality products.
Bravo, thank you.
Without getting too crazy, could you talk a little bit about distillation and maceration and like at what point the herbs are distilled? I know different.
They're not telling you that.
What are you trying to make chartreuse at home?
Good job.
Could you give me Now I think these 130 herbs are in the recipe. Just tell me if I'm wrong.
No, I will answer to you. I'm gonna answer to you because, but I have to be honest and frank with you. I cannot give you specific information because I don't have access to this information. So it would be wrong to say, there's so many things. So they are using, for example, for the green chartreuse, they're using a beetroot alcohol, natural beetroot. We're buying we have a special supplier in north of France. They have a special supplier in north of France supplying this alcohol, raw material, distilled already two times. We call it alcool sur fin in France. It's at 96%, which is 192 proof.
Wow.
Okay, and we're using this base for maceration process and distillation process. Okay, so obviously the heart of distillation we keep at 84%, more or less. That's and after we distill with still water, right? But what you have to understand, they are doing in the period of time they are producing one batch of green chartreuse. One batch is 42,000 liters in 8 weeks. So there's many small operation, maceration process of different group of herbs, distillation process of the other, and they reserved all the distilled blend, and at the end they blend all the distilled before to give the natural color, because obviously there's no coloring go into Chartreuse liqueur.
Yeah, you guys.
So this is much there's much I can do.
Yeah, and you know that all of those herbs obviously are not blended or distilled together at the same time because they have different rates of, efficacy and maceration. So those bags that they make won't be all 130 herbs at the same time. Some will just be one, and some will be 10 or whatever. And so then they blend all that together.
But you can't get that information.
No, that's what I was. That's kind of.
That's the combination. The most important thing is the combination. What they do when they extract, and they can feel every single herbs and plants and flowers, because the expression of Chartreuse is there. The way we see Chartreuse, it's unbelievable. The feeling you have. Okay. So, by the way to enjoy Chartreuse, not shooting Chartreuse, is just sipping slowly and keeping your mouth for a few seconds to get all the beautiful complexity of the liqueur into the palate.
And to drink it chilled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's,
Oh,
I suggest,
really?
yes.
Didn't know
Chilled.
that.
Yes, you get some.
Why is that not more widely known? Like I've never been offered a Chartreuse that's chilled.
I think because Chartreuse has been adopted by the cocktail culture, which is in the last 10 years going through a revitalization, and Chartreuse is never a main ingredient, it's always a modifying ingredient inside cocktails, and you're always chilling it in a tin. Even if you're stirring it, you're still chilling it. So it's kind of always served chilled, unless people are doing shots, which I gotta say, I'm kind of guilty, and there's a shot that I like to do
But even
with
shot,
Chartreuse
you
as
can
well.
chill because
But you can chill that
enjoy
shot as well,
the
yeah.
complexity of the liqueur much than room temperature.
But if you-
room temperature, you get all the essence, all the strength into your palate, which is sometimes wow. Which is, feeling's good because you're a professional, you know what you do. You have a palate, developed for that, which is fine. But for the consumers, if you try like a Chartreuse, like never try room temperature, wow.
Yeah.
It's a bit, chill
It's
is
like a
bit
family
nicer.
shot. It's when you can afford Chartreuse instead of Fernet. That's what the bar drinks. That's why we drink it unchilled. But when you're giving it to a guest, it's a whole different dynamic, for sure.
Yeah,
Right.
you have
So
to
would
make
it
it people.
be-
You have to,
Preferential to like keep it in a fridge or like
Yes.
shake it or stir it?
Oh, you can do that.
diluted,
You can
chilled,
you
what's
can
the
do
way
that.
to do
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
A
dilution
little
or
bit.
just chilled?
Yeah, a little bit of dilution is nice. Mixing glass, a little bit of dilution. Sort
Okay.
of double strain to your shot glass is fine. Or keep it in the fridge and drink it.
If you
neat.
add dilution to something that complex, you're going to bring flavor out with the water.
Yes.
It's going to bring a little bit of flavor out, and the chilling of it will also bring flavor out. So shaking and stirring for cocktails is great, but if you're keeping a bottle, it's like this. You know what you do? You go and get those little 375s of Chartreuse. They're a little cheaper, right? A little 375s, and keep that in the fridge, and then you can have that just for sipping. As a digestif or a cure-all, right? So if you have the flu or whatever, just replace, in America we do whiskey, in France they do Chartreuse. Cool. I had like a million questions, but I think you answered all of them. I only had to ask like 2 questions.
I think, like you mentioned, the digestive aspect of the liqueur is very important because the way we drink also in Europe, Chartreuse is much at the end of the meal. The culture for us is to drink the liqueur at the end of the meal, so it's known for that. So I think we have a way to go also in the West to see in the menu list the liqueur, Chartreuse being placed to the dessert menu and enjoying Chartreuse such as a liqueur, right? To educate people to drink Chartreuse. Because,
Like Amaros. Amaros are
because like I mentioned, technically it's a
Right.
product aged in oak vats for minimum 3 years. So as quality there to be enjoyed as a digestif,
Will you tell the friends at home about VEP
Oh,
That I am-
VEP, yeah,
that I
actually
am-
we should touch on that.
giving out now?
Sure.
Yeah.
If you want to.
Yes.
Did you try? Did I try the yellow?
Yes, the yellow came.
Yeah, yellow cane.
We didn't.
So
This is the VEP yellow.
okay. This is VEP.
Yes.
Okay.
So what is Chartreuse VEP?
Chartreuse VEP stands for Vieillissement Exceptionnel Prolongé, which is very old aging process. So basically, when Chartreuse, regular Chartreuse is aging in oak vats of 50,000 liters, then 12,000 liters in a cellars, this is aging in a smaller vats, for a longer time. So it's smaller vats, which is 500 liters vats for 8, 10, 12, 15 liters. The first bottle we produced was in 1963. Do you have a bottle by
Oui.
chance? We used the replica of the original bottle. First bottle was produced for Chartreuse. It was a 1 liter bottle. It's a replica from the 18th century. It's a beautiful bottle. Here we go. 1 liter bottle, which is a very, very clean.
Nice.
Is that
Nice.
1 liter?
It's 1 liter.
Oof, buddy.
Right? So this yellow Chartreuse, it's 84 proof. It's gaining proof. when there's regular yellow Chartreuse is 80 proof, the VEP yellow is 84 gaining. So just to find the good bands. And obviously it's a very small, very limited production worldwide. There's 30,000 bottles a year produced for the VEP, which is almost none. Every single market is located, including US, obviously. And you can find this bottle at very fine dining restaurant, good bars, special retail shops, obviously. And there is nothing like this in terms of aging for herbal liqueur so long on the market. So it's very unique in that sense.
Is it the method that is VA small, or is it the
Yes.
extra aging that is VA small?
It's extra aging. It's very small.
It means means hella old, essentially.
In old style, is it the old style aging, or is it?
Yes.
I mean, I think it literally says like exceptionally prolonged
Aging.
on the.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
aging clause, yes.
Okay, it's age.
Aging.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank everybody for showing up here and learning all about Chartreuse. Hopefully, you guys at home were having a little bit are a little bit less confused about
group picture?
Chartreuse.
Group picture?
We will do a group picture.
Please.
And don't forget to subscribe.
With chocolate.
Yes. Yeah, that's